Hi, this is Ava, and this is my. One second. Great start, right? This is my Critical Inquiry Module 2. Okay, so what is my question? My question is, how does cultural and regional diversity affect national unity? Something that we talked a lot about in this module. So I first thought we should list our political parties in Canada. So we have the Liberals, Conservatives, Bloc Québécois, NDP, and Green. I also made a little pie chart showing how much power these parties have currently in Parliament. So as you can see, Conservatives and Liberals have most power currently right now. Liberals focus on helping people through the government programs and balancing fairness with economic growth. Conservatives want lower taxes, less government, and traditional values. Bloc Québécois represents Quebec's interests and supports more independence for their province. NDP stands for workers' rights, affordable healthcare, and helping those in need. And Green is mainly environmental. So, I'm sorry. This is my first time using Canva, so please bear with me. I first decided to look at the political divide in Bloc Québécois. So, what is Bloc Québécois? It is the political party whose motive is to separate from Canada. They were founded in 1991. Here's their little flag. Yeah. So, right now, their leader, I'm going to butcher this, I'm sorry, but it's Yves Francois Blanchet, and they currently have 26 seats, and I'm pretty sure Quebec has 76 seats, so they got a good amount for Quebec. Yeah. So their party only runs in Quebec, and it mainly focuses on Quebec's interests because of that. Their goals are to promote and protect Quebec, and hopefully, not hopefully, but for them, hopefully, separate from Canada, because that is one of Bloc's goals. The political party, I'm sorry, I'm so sick right now. Quebec uses the notwithstanding clause, and it isn't great, because they're not using it for a good reason, in my opinion, because they're trying to ban religious symbols in the government and in government buildings. They're trying to restrict English in government buildings, and Bill 96, which makes talking French a priority, and it's the main language that restricts English once again. So you can see this in businesses, government buildings, school, healthcare, everything. It's mainly French. And they use the notwithstanding clause to do this, which is what I personally believe is politically incorrect. Because the notwithstanding clause is supposed to be for emergencies. In Quebec, the rights these violate from the notwithstanding clause would be freedom of expression, because teachers cannot wear their Muslim hijab or a cross or anything like that, so they cannot express themselves in public. Freedom of religion, as I said, because they're forcing people to conceal their beliefs. And equality rights, because everybody should be able to show who they are no matter what, even if that means they're wearing their turban or their hijab or their knight, I believe. So I think Quebec is a key reason why we are divided. They have a party in their province that their main goal is to separate from Canada. That isn't great. That isn't showing unity, right? And they use the notwithstanding clause to violate Canadian rights, which is absolutely horrible and shameful, personally. They also have a political party that only runs in Quebec. That's not showing fairness at all. Okay, and then we start talking about the Western provinces, which includes BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. So we're talking about Wexix, which sounds like Brexit because that's where they got it from, or now they're called the Maverick Party, which is a separation party for the Western provinces. What they want was to abolish the carbon tax, which has happened, and to end equalization payments between each province, which, I understand why they would want that, but it'd be very important for us because we We use some of that, same as PEI, Nunavut, Yukon, they all use that, which is when the provinces that have higher tax dollars or more economic growth, some of their taxes get distributed to different provinces, and that created a lot of tension for those provinces because they were upset because they weren't seeing all their money go to them. Sharing is caring, just saying. And having control over taxation and resources is another thing they wanted. Resources such as natural gas line, forestry, agriculture, and what's the other one? I think I said natural gas. It's another big reason why we are divided. It feels like the provinces are fighting over shared resources. I put taxes because it is a resource that we all share, and they're not happy how things are distributed. So instead of, voicing that, they just decide we're just going to separate, which is very pitiful. Okay, and it also leaves us in a very bad economic place because they hold a lot of Canada's resources. Another political divide I personally thought is Liberals versus Conservatives. They're two different political parties. Mark Carney is the leader of the Liberals, and for the Conservative Party, it's Pierre Poilievre. You've probably heard these names before. Their number of seats are Liberals have 169 and Conservatives have 139, but Liberals are still a minority government. The political divide in Canada for these guys would be they've been dominating the parties for decades. It's always been liberal conservative, right? We've never seen an NDP be the head or the prime minister of Canada. No way. Anyway, it just shows a lot of how there's no equilibrium, as we could say, right? And it's not fair because not everyone gets their voice because they have so much more power than the other ones like NDP or Green. I think Green's only had 12 to 7 seats highest, and it can be really frustrating. So when I think of national unity, I do not think of Canada because we have a lot of petty things that we fight about, and clearly the only thing that we could do is separate, which isn't it, but like I'm being sarcastic here. It's like they don't get what they want, so they decide to leave, like Quebec, the western provinces of Canada, and using the notwithstanding clause in a way that shouldn't be used, which is very frustrating. So I wouldn't say that Canada has national unity in that way, and I didn't even touch on the Indigenous part because I thought that'd be way too big, and we have a very dark past with them as well. So my computer just died, but I will upload the PowerPoint. There's no other slides. It was just the conclusion. I just said the conclusion. I am Ava McCullum for Political Science for Ed Butler. So, yeah.